Hi guys, welcome once again to the Martial Art Business Growth Network podcast. I'm here with my good friend and my coaching client, Michael Stewart. How you doing, Michael? You okay?
I'm good, Rick. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. Right. Today we're here to talk about Michael's journey. He runs an amazing martial arts school. Well, I'll let him tell you about his journey and his and everything his martial arts school. So, Michael, can you let everybody know who you are and what you do in the martial arts, please?
Perfect. Yeah, I run a Taekwondo club on the south coast in Hampshire. It's a Taekwondo club with three different class groups. My day job, I'm a secondary school teacher, and yeah, I've done that for almost 20 years. I've seen the landscape of that changing, and decided to, 3 years ago, just before COVID, decided to pursue my passion, which is Taekwondo. It's been a bit of a up and down road because I started right before lockdown happened. So things were just picking up, and then lockdown came in, and luckily that's where you came in. So yeah.
Cool. So it swooped in and saved everybody. So, so yeah, how did that feel? I mean, at that point, because that must happen, that must have happened to quite a few other people, where you start off your school and like maybe a year in, and then everything happened. What went through your mind at that time?
Yeah, it was a tricky one because by nature I'm quite a cautious person. I like to, in some things I'm very gung ho, but in a lot of things I'm very cautious. So even getting to start my club, I had a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're really good at this. You're good at Taekwondo. The history I had. I used to compete and all the rest of it. You should do it." And I thought, nah, nah, nah. And I eventually did. It was like a big step for me. So I did started it in the November. Um, so I didn't know anything about marketing or anything. It was just a big step in, but started getting inquiries. So around about December, January, started getting some inquiries coming in, and then lockdown came in, and we had was really small numbers at the time anyway. But I thought, there we go, typical. That's why I shouldn't have done it. I knew it. As soon as I do this, it all comes caving it, crashing down. But the small members I had were really good. When I explained the move to online, they were very keen. They said they wanted to carry on. They valued what I did, so I was really grateful for that. But yeah, so coming out of it, I was just in two minds. Like, have I made a mistake? Because I wanted this to be my new career. I wanted to be my new profession, to leave education, hopefully. And I thought, have I made the right choice? But yeah, so it was quite scary.
I can imagine. I mean, so is that the big dream to leave one area of employment and then move into this full time?
Very much so. I've always, seen myself as a leader. Even when I went into teaching, I moved quite quickly up the ranks, actually. Um, but it's become much more difficult to sustain with the pressures that, education brings at the moment. I'm not knocking it. I just know it's getting a harder and harder role to stay and function in. And with a young family, I want to give them all of my time. So yeah, this is definitely somewhere, the direction I'd like to go.
I understand 100%. 100%. I mean, that's definitely where I was years ago, 15 years ago, I think it is, I left. And it's scary. It is a scary,
Mm.
scary thought process to have. And it's not the feeling of going into a career and you put 100% into something and you think it's for life. You think it's for life. You think that's you. Your identity is attached to that career pathway as well. Only to realize that there's another way and a better way if you can make it work.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I take my hat off to you for making the decision and having the foresight to understand that you've got to do the work. There's a journey you've got to go through, and you're making some huge strides forward, both in your personal development and with your business development as well. So take my hats off to you for that. So good job.
Thank you.
Hopefully that little bit will inspire somebody somewhere to take some action and start taking the steps towards doing what they need to do to get to where they want to be, because nothing in life is for free.
Mm. True. And I think that's one of the first conversations we had, because for me it was like, is this possible? I know I want it, And I'd attended some course somewhere once, running a martial arts business course, and there was all this, oh, you can do this and you can do that. But going from A to B is quite difficult. It's how do you bridge that gap? And yes, all well and good, someone saying, oh, look at me, I've got all this stuff. But when you're in this beginning phase and you want that, it's like, how do you get there? And there's no clear pathway. There's lots of end goals. Yeah, it's there, but how do you get there? And I think that's where you've come in. Is sort of like laying the pathway, little steps, do this, do this, do this, do this. And I've seen the results along the way. I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet because I know I'm still learning what's capable. What I thought was possible is the tip of the iceberg. There's more. And, and I want to get there. So it's, yeah, just ticking those boxes along the way. I think we'll get, is where we're going.
So that's awesome. I mean, like you, I think you hit on a very valuable point. It's important for us to have, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a coach, but it's important to have the right guidance so that you have somebody that's literally got a step by step,
Mm,
I call it a roadmap. Like the growth network thing is a roadmap. There are certain things that need to be in place before we start looking at ramming members in. To
yeah,
I mean, that's it. I mean, logistically, having lots of members can be an absolute nightmare and can be one of the most stressful things ever if it's done in the wrong way. But if it's done in the right way, there's no difference to having 75 members to having 750 members because I've been in both areas and I've done both right and I've done both wrong. So it's yeah, it is having that pathway. Now let's talk about your teaching. What got you into teaching martial arts? And when did you start?
Well, club opened, as I said, in November 2019. Um, and, having my journey in martial arts actually began quite a long time ago. Um, I think so anyway. As a kid, in fact, it started, I was born in Africa. So as a sort of a 11, 12-year-old, being exposed to Van Damme movies and Bruce Lee movies and just wanting to do it, but the opportunities weren't there. So when I was 13, we relocated to the UK, and it was suddenly like you can take your pick pretty much with what martial arts you want to want to study. Being a Bruce Lee fan, I thought I'll do kung fu, and so I started up in a kung fu club. A system called Pak Mei Kung Fu. It's quite similar to Wing Chun in many ways, but it was a hands system, and I'm 6 feet tall. I've got quite long legs, so I felt my legs were wasted. But the other movie I watched, which really hit the nerve with me, was Best of the Best, which is a Taekwondo movie. So finding the Taekwondo club was the one that I couldn't find, and it was only when I went to uni in 2000 that I found the University Taekwondo club was there. So I started learning Taekwondo. Very quickly got into competitions and was very successful, very quickly. So it just clicked with me. Sadly, I left university. I was up in Liverpool to come back home to the South Coast, and so there was a gap. But I found a Taekwondo club and picked it up again. Picked up like I'd never stopped. Fast forward a few years to obviously struggling, with juggling and balancing things and wanting more in life at work. Lots of people saying, "Oh, you really should go. You're very good. You should go back to teaching it." And I thought, well, who makes money teaching martial arts? No. And a good friend of mine who's a karate instructor, who's a family friend, sat me down one day and said, "Look, I'll to give you a general outline of the module. You can do it. You can swap your jobs." And I suddenly it was that let's give it a go. So I did, and I really enjoy it. I really do. There's so many transferable skills from my job that I put in here. um, but yeah, it's a job I enjoy.
It's good. That's awesome. So what about, when you very first you opened up for the very first like week or so?
Yeah.
What did that look like? What were you? How did you feel? What?
So it's like it's weird because again, like I said, being a cautious person, in my head, I was thinking, right, I can't just like rock up at this hall and just be like, hey, I'm here. So I was like, right, need to get my pads. So, have my little money aside, bought my pads and got my little notebook. I'm going to tick these people off and got to pull that banner down. And I was like, yeah, let's go, ready to go. And never forget it, sat in this hall and it's like tumbleweed. Like, oh my God. And then, yeah, so that first session was really interesting because it was just I took my son along, so it was just me and him. We just did some basic stuff, and then the next day I thought, all right, this is I'm gonna have to try and put stuff on Facebook, which I had no idea what I was doing. But interestingly, my brother actually said, "Oh, you've started a club." He's got 3 kids. So they need that. So the next class they were there, and then their friends they were telling their friends. So we had a little trickle coming in that way. And then I think the very basic, very green Facebook ad I put out got a few people interested and they came along. So yeah, we were running at about 15 members. And it was just like, really not sure I made the right, right decision. I've seen pictures of people with their halls with like 50, 60, 100 people. And I was thinking, yeah, I'm a long way from that, you know?
You know what? It's, you're on your way there now. I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Like how long have we been working together now?
It's over a year now, actually. Yeah, I remember it was one of the nth lockdown. I think one of the last ones. You put a post up about from members looking to improve their club. So I reached out and you contacted me back. So we had a quick chat, and that's how it started. And one of the first things you said is, okay, you've got a juniors and adults class, but have you got like a one for little kids? I was like, no. Um, yeah. And he said, why not? And he was like, oh, yeah, had no good enough excuse. So you gave me the outline of how to do it. I won't go into too many details, but you gave me the guidance on it and how to launch it and all that. And I did that. And I was expecting another tumbleweed class, like, here we go. And it was full that first night. There was like, I say full, it was like 20 odd, parents turned up with their kids. And at the end of the class, and I said, right, this is where we sign up. There was like a long line that I was thinking, oh, they want to sign. It was like, oh, and they signed. They all signed, and a lot of them are still with me. Here we are, like over a year down the line, they're still with me. So yeah, that made a big impact on the numbers because I had growing numbers in the juniors class, but I instantly doubled it with that within in that first night. With the little ninjas group. So it continues to be a very popular class. Those are my 2 full classes at the moment.
Awesome. That's good. So, what were your initial thoughts about like the growth network coaching program and the way I was with you, maybe on the first few calls and stuff, and maybe the first month?
Yeah, I think the first few, it was because of the way, again, I guess the way I work, the idea of accountability. I don't like embarrassments. I don't like being on a call where you say, have you done this? And I go, no. Have you done that? No. But you're not like that. You do it in a way where everything we discuss, you follow up the next time. So I then make sure that, right, he's calling me on this day. I need to make sure I get those things done. So I sometimes would put pressure on myself to deliver because I know you're putting a lot of effort into me and I can't. It's like I don't want to let you down, but I know if I'm letting you down, then I'm letting myself down as well.
I know.
So it's like, getting that done. So it was really good because, like I said, it wasn't like you need to get 100 members in. Here's this is what you've got to do. Back, go. Because I know that first night when those 20 turned up, I was like, you know, so if I got 100 in, I was not prepared. I haven't got the capacity to deal with them. So it's like a very tailor-made, almost step by step pathway that you've got in place for me. So I've really valued that because there were a few initial calls where I thought, oh my God, I'm not sure I can do this. But again, it was those calls were valuable because all those needs and concerns were addressed quite instantly.
That's good. I mean, there's a big part of the coaching and stuff, and growing any business, regardless of what industry it's in. Um, the biggest part, I think, for me is mindset. Having the right mindset to approach your business with not just a structure and a system and a framework, because I'm a massive fan of frameworks and structure because it just makes things so much easier, takes all the guesswork out. But also, um, just your approach to how you perceive things that happen with the business, because I know that beginners in business think that it's going to be this. Yes, I'm going to be a millionaire in 5 minutes. Well, the reality, it's an up and down endeavor. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I've got this saying that I use as one of my mantras is like to have more, you have to be more. So anytime with any of my business start to plateau, then that means that I need to be better. There's something
Mm.
that I need to either be better at, and it might be disciplining something that I knew before to revisit it and get better, and then the business moves up. And that's how I kind of use that with when I'm coaching, like coaching clients. And what when it comes to mindset, how has your mindset changed towards different parts of your business and the whole picture?
I think the biggest change has I'm learning to make friends with fear, because to grow, um, I think, um, unless you're slightly detached in some ways, you have to accept fear. Fear is going to be there because that next step, you can't just blindly walk in and go, yeah, brilliant. There's problems with that. So you have to make friends with fear. Know that it's going to inspire you and push you, and that you have to plan how you're going to face that fear. So it's there. How do we deal with it? And that's been my biggest change. I'm still looking at it now where, I know in some conversations we've talked about expansion. I'm thinking, okay, I need to open new venues. I can sit where I am now. It's nice and comfy, but it's not where I want to be. Yeah, to be where I want to go, I've got to take that step into the unknown, and that is where the fear comes in. But again, it's like, okay, it's got to be done. Just like opening the Little Ninjas group, I remember thinking, the top of my head literally opened up, and like, you know, we did it. And it's brilliant. It's working nicely. So again, that has to happen. So the change in mindset has been, you know, embracing and in an intelligent way fear. It's there, but we've got to face it in a strategic way.
Yeah, that's so true. That's very, very true. Um, I can't think of the exact saying. I was trying to think of it as you were talking. Um, if it doesn't scare you, you're not thinking big enough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I think that that's right. And like I said before, I like systems, I like structure, I like frameworks. But I've realized that sometimes you need to go outside of the framework, expand on the framework to get to the next level with whatever you're doing. Or
I
you
think
can,
one of the big things you said to me is this idea of reverse engineering as well. Like,
yes,
go bang, that's where you want to go. Brilliant. Now, how do we let's work backwards? How do we get there? Because sometimes looking at something, I think I want to go there, and you don't know where to start and how to go. So if you can reverse engineer it, that's made a big impact to me because I'll sometimes, like, if I've gone to my day job and had a really rubbish day, I've gone, you know what? Okay, let's look at the numbers where I'm at the moment. Do a quick maths because I'm very numerate. I'm not a wordy person. So I'll look at the numbers, then look at like end goal and say, right, how many do I need to get there? What do I need to do to get there and work backwards? And that's what's pushed me because sometimes even when it comes to like, right, we need to have a real push and, try and get some extra members in because, we need to expand a bit. You can, I mean, I remember when I first started looking at marketing, it's like, what? I need to spend what? £20? Oh my God, that's a bit much. Yeah, I laugh at that now because, I know and I'm comfortable with spending a little bit more. I'm not saying I'm a, big spender, but like in terms of from where I was to where I am now is a big difference.
it's having a realistic view, isn't it?
Yeah.
Understanding the like acquisition model as well. The fact that if you're doing your marketing properly, it doesn't actually cost you anything.
Yes.
Really doesn't. So a lot of people don't understand that. When I hear people saying, "You spend how much on marketing?" So well, you haven't asked me how much I make on the other end, but
Exactly.
it's madness. But so let's talk about the community because I know that you've really, really gelled with a lot of the guys in the growth network community and stuff. I'd go as far as to say make some like strong friendships and everything as well, and expanded your network, which as a school owner, I have found is the most important thing because it can be a very, very lonely place running a martial arts school because you're there looking at social media, looking at everybody saying, "Oh, I've got 1,000 members," and look at my
Yeah.
my grading picture. This is how it is all the time. You know what I mean? I'll be putting pictures out of busy
Yeah.
classes and all that kind of thing. Um, and then you start kind of questioning yourself. It's like, hold on, everybody else seems to be like plain sailing here. Having a group of honest people that are just down to earth and just tell it like it is and share
Mm.
the wins and the losses, I feel is invaluable. And so, talk to us a little bit about that, about some friendships you made and what that's done for you.
No, it really has been transformational, really, because prior to being in this group, Google was my friend. That was my best friend. Yeah, and it's okay, but it's not like the be all and end all. When I was added to the group, I remember thinking, "Ooh, almost imposter syndrome. Am I, little old me? What am I doing here?" But there's no egos there. It's such a wonderful group, and I almost feel it's just the way I feel. Like it's when we go to our masterminds or when there's stuff buzzing in the group. It's like the knights of the round table. We're all there. That's kind of what it's. It's like I can have like the smallest query and I can pop it in the in the group, and I'll get instantly within minutes get like multiple answers coming in, or you could do it in ways I hadn't even considered. So yeah, it saved me, or should I say, saved the business a lot of money as well, because I would have been doing something with a certain supplier, thinking this is the way, and then someone would say, "Did you know that you could actually get a better quality product from these guys instead?" So it's been really handy, and even for my own personal, as a Taekwondo practitioner, there's people in the group that have really helped because I know in order to deliver to my members, to my community, I need to have the integrity that I need to bring. I need to have my own training up to standard. So there's I've been introduced to people in the group that have helped me develop and push on in that sense as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, it's going to be even more next year with the introduction of the instructor program for all members.
Mm.
So all members get the instructor training program monthly delivered to them to grow the instructor team, as well as leadership program. What do you think that'll do for your business?
That is the next step for my business is recruiting that next group, that next tier of instructors that will allow us to kick on and hit the numbers that we need to. So yeah, it's having that pathway because I started this. I remember starting thinking I know how my instructor taught me, so I kind of just do the same thing. But actually, it's bigger than that. There's so many. That's like just a one method, but students come in different shapes, sizes, and all sorts of needs. And having that in place will allow me to train the instructors to be better instructors than I am, to be honest.
That's good. So what about the future for yourself and your business? What do you think the future holds in the next 12 months?
It's something we've discussed in our last network call. It's actually really opened my mind up because I've always been playing it safe, playing it maybe too safe, and it's challenged me to think even bigger. And knowing what we've done so far, I don't feel like it's let's go. No, it's like, okay, we can go bigger, but I know there's going to be a pathway how to get there. So that's what I'm looking at for next year is now really taking the reins off slowly so I can just let the systems go so we can fly. Because yeah, I really would like to kick on and make this transformation to becoming a professional martial arts instructor.
Yeah, you're definitely on the way there, 100%. I mean, I think people feel, people that are in the same position where they've got a full-time career over here and they want to make that transition. Sometimes I think they feel that a coach is going to tell them, just go all in. And I've heard this before, just go all in, like as if it's that easy. Um, Hand in your notice, and you can't do that, especially when you've got a family. I mean, I've got a certain way that I coach the people through the transition. It's a cautious transition. It's the way that I went from working full time in IT and running my full time martial art business and did that tipping point. So as much as it was a struggle when I left initially, simply because I didn't know as much as I thought I did, and
Mm.
also my job was well paid and it was like a big backup for me, and then I just lost that. Um, it was still quite a smooth transition in anybody's gauge the imagination. So
Yeah.
I really haven't got anything to moan about. Still went on holidays and stuff with my wife and stuff. So it was an issue. So I take through people through a certain transition, and it doesn't have to be a chop and go. It's literally it's this. It's a,
Yeah.
it's a balancing point. And I honestly feel, depending on what career people are in, there is a way of doing it where you can have a win-win and get that financial freedom a lot quicker. But I'm not going to share that on this call.
You're right. I have heard. I mean, like I said, I went to a course very early on where they were, went raving about, one or two of their top guys who he had been doing this job and he jacked it in and he just knuckled down and he made a success of it. And I thought, nah, it's not me. I've got, like I said, I've got two kids, mortgage. I'd have a very angry wife if I did. So
It's the thing. It's like it's not getting the whole picture, isn't it?
yeah,
Because it's, and I think that's the key for anybody listening is like be honest with yourself, and you'll get further on in your business. And be honest in your network of people, whoever you're asking advice to, be completely honest and open with them because people are only going to give you advice if you have issues that need help. But if you're saying everything's amazing, it's not going to work. But yeah, but what would you say to anybody that's maybe watching this and they know they want help or they need help, I should say, but they're on the fence for some reason? It's those people that like when I put up, say, I've got a free PDF or video on um, whatever, increasing revenue or and stuff, and those people, I see the same people saying, "Yeah, me, please," and they get the
mm,
information, and all they'd have to do realistically is take action on the information, but they don't. And then when I put the same post out in like 2 months' time, the same people are asking for the same thing. And
yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
so it's like, why are they not taking a step? What would you say to those people that are on the fence about coaching?
As someone who is very cautious, himself, me, I would say when that if you're in that situation, pick the phone up and ring Rick. Because the thing, what I mean by that, and I'm quite serious about it, is, for example, if I'm buying a car, I'll go into a car dealer, and if I'm getting like a push, 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 I like the information in a certain way, and that's exactly what I got with you. When we scheduled that call, I was thinking because like I said, I had been approached by a few other people, and it was like bang, 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 and that just with you, it was like you take the time. There's no push. You listen to the person, you advise them, and I took action on those few things you gave me on that first phone call, and I saw the results. There's no sign on the dotted line, someone leaning over you. There's none of that. You know, it's not going to cost you anything. Pick the phone up, give Rick and his team a call, and hear what they've got. I've not looked back. I'm over a year down the line. I mean, when I rang you, I had 12 members. We're way past that now.
It's good, man. That's excellent. Brilliant. That's excellent advice. And like Michael said, if anybody is on the fence and you need help, we're not ogres. I've got myself and a couple of other coaches that work in the Martial Art Business Growth Network. Um, we on the calls we find out about you because everybody's circumstance is unique. As much as you might think your circumstance is the same as everybody else's, it's not. Everyone's unique. We listen. We'll ask you if you've tried certain things and find out what the barriers and the blockages are. And if we can help or have something to help, obviously we'll suggest it. And then if it's something you want to take up, excellent. If not, good job. You'll take a lot of free advice away you can action in your business. But for Michael, thank you very, very much for today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, and keep up the good work. We're going to revisit this in, I'd say, mid next year. Do this again. When we do this next year, we're going to hit a major milestone with the finances and your student numbers. So I'm saying this for accountability, not for you, but for moi, for me.
Oh no, I can't wait. I'm actually excited about that.
It's going to be good. It's going to be very, very good, especially with like everybody tracking their numbers and everything with a spreadsheet online and stuff. So it's going to be good. But thank you again, true gents, and it's a pleasure having you as part of our community. Thank you for helping everybody else out there as well, and we'll speak to you again in 6 months.
Nice one. Thank you.
Right, thanks for watching, guys, or listening, depending on where you're seeing this or hearing this, and I'll see you on the next podcast. Take care.